at giving us or showing us the flow of your research. The flow. Where does it begin with and where does it end with? Yeah? It cannot be. It can't be a beginning without the ending. So if your research design stops somewhere without the good ending, meaning there is a problem. So inshallah, I'm going to share with you my slides, and then I would love if our members in this session can just ask questions. So you can stop me anytime, any point, that because our brains things and process a lot. So if you have question, just throw it out. Yeah, you don't stop there. Okay, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Why does research design matter? Yeah, research design is the framework of research methods, and that you can see how people got confused with theoretical framework, conceptual framework, because the word framework exists. They are all different. Yeah. Research design is the framework of research methods and techniques chosen by a researcher. Yeah, by a researcher. It allows researchers to identify research methods that are suitable for the subject. What do we mean by the subject? The subjects means the variables. Yeah, the variables that we want to pursue in our research. Yeah, so it explains the type of research. Yeah, either experimental, survey, correlational, semi-experimental, review, and also is subtype. Yeah, and that matter. Sorry, I had this slide this morning, but basically I have all the ideas. So I want to share with you so you can see what is this research design about. Yeah, correct this one first. Okay. So as we can see, what is the key term in the research design? First, we have the word methods. Methods. The chapter itself, use the word. The title is methodology. It's not method. It's methodology. So where the explanation in the chapter is called methods and techniques. Yeah, techniques. Okay. Methods start with approach. What approach do you use? This is the first statement that you must introduce when it comes to chapter 3. What is your approach? The answer is qualitative or quantitative. So you must explain, you must introduce. This research employs qualitative approach. Okay, that brings the idea to the readers. Okay, your research uses qualitative approach. Okay, it will give the scope to the readers. Then you will say qualitative approach, which use the interview technique. The method, the approach is qualitative, and then the technique What is the technique? We use the interviews. Then you can start with the sampling, location, blah, blah, blah after that. Why? When we use qualitative, then it allows researchers to identify research methods that are suitable for the subject. So qualitative, and then you would have the technique. You will need to think of the technique. What is the most suitable technique for data collection? Qualitative, it can be FGD, focus group discussion. It can be roundtable, RTD, roundtable discussion, experimental, interviews, blah, blah, blah. Those techniques, I have to remind you because I'm going to talk specifically on research design, but we must remember we can't avoid of taking the whole discussion to chapter 2, to chapter 1, yeah? Now, so what methods or what techniques you must refer to the previous research, your literature reviews. Your literature reviews does not only include the discussions or arguments about the subject matters, but also you must look at the method they use in their research. Yeah, that's why when we do our reading, we will have to look at the discussions, and then you have to look at the method they use. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have it here. Let me check. I have it here so I can share with you. How does it look like when you do your reading?
Assalamualaikum. I wonder one question.
Yes, dear.
Okay, the research dia boleh ke kita buat dalam satu, iaitu research kualitatif dan kuantitatif?
Yes, boleh.
Okay, thanks, Doctor.
Welcome. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this. Can you see this? Can you see?
Way too small, Dr. Vida.
Ya ke? So kita kena keluar lah.
Maybe can you just cuba zoom in, apa namanya, make it closer to your camera.
Okay, closer to my, okay.
Yep.
Okay, you can see, ya kan?
Yep.
The title, objective, and then what is that?
Method,
yeah. Method, and then this is findings. And the last one is the theory.
Theory, yep.
So this is my notes lah, selalunya. Yeah. So when I do reading, I will look into the author, year, objective, method, findings, theory. So these are the things that you need, that can help you, that can guide you. What are the suitable techniques for your research? And then not only suitable, but you can see the gap. Okay, for the past 20 years, the most or majority of the studies employed quantitative. What is lacking? Why is it why they don't look into qualitative part? What we are missing here? That kind of questions. So when you write, then you say, okay, then therefore this study wishes to see the qualitative part of the subject matters, which is, for example, expert interviews. Yeah. That's how the literature reviews guide us. That's why research methodology is the core, the heart of your research. Yeah. In order to be able to explain the whole thing, you must you must be very clear about your research method, your research design. Okay. There are three main types of design for research. Yeah. How do you collect the data? How do you measure the data? And how do you analyze the data? All the three will be explained, will be portrayed, will be designed into the framework. We after listening to my sharing now, you will realize how much many studies missing this part, missing the research design. They explain, but they write, but they don't have the framework. They will just write throughout, 10 paragraphs, 10 pages, but no pictures, no framework that can that allow the readers to have a shortcut, to understand what is your research about, or what is your research method about. Okay, so this the research design will explain this. Will show the readers these three items. Okay. 8 elements of research design. Yeah. Accurate purpose statement. Why do we choose a qualitative? Why do we have mixed method? Why do we have triangulation? The purpose statement will lead you to the choices of approach and the techniques. The techniques to be implemented for collecting and analyzing research. To have this research design, you must be ready with the techniques you plan for the research, and then the method applied for analyzing collected these details. How do you what method, what techniques, what method do you use for this research? Interviews, survey, experimental, and then type of research methodology. Okay, probable objections for research, meaning we need to see the potential or the likelihood that this your method will be opposed or will be will be refused by other scholars. How the likelihood your techniques are wrong to some people. That's why you need to read the article, the previous discussions on method, setting for the research study, and then timeline and measurement of analysis. These are the elements of research design. How powerful it is. It is powerful. It is powerful, and if you, especially when you apply for research grant, regardless of whether it's qualitative or quantitative, mixed method or triangulation, the research design will be an advantage to your research, and then will be a benefit to the examiner, to the readers in understanding our research. You can imagine how this research design is so strong, is so appealing. Yes, research designs has the appeal touch. Yeah, it gives clearer picture. It's like an eagle view. Yeah. Once people look at your research design, people understand, and they will be attracted to know more about your research. Yeah. We go back to the question just now. Can we have both? Yes. This is another topic. We call it, if I'm not mistaken, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, under data collection. Not under data collection, on the research method, the big topic where we can use quali or quanti. We can have mixed method which combine quali and quanti, and then triangulation. Let me share a bit on triangulation. Triangulation can be 2 quali, 1 quanti, or 2 quanti and 2 quali. Quali, not quali dapur, yeah, qualitative. So quanti, put it this way, one research, we have quanti, survey, and then we have 2 qualitative, one with expert interviews, and then 1 focus group discussion. So the three methods, the 3 techniques you use are called triangulation. There is no what we call, there is no right or wrong in combining the 3, as long as there are 3 different techniques, so it's called triangulation. It can be, the whole thing can be quantitative, the whole thing can be qualitative or mixed. Yeah.
Doktor, maksudnya triangulation ni it can refer to both. Whether kita buat kuanti ke kuali, kita masih boleh refer term tu.
Yes.
Betul ke doktor?
So katalah triangulation, so you have to start with the introduction. This research employs triangulation approach, which merge between quali and quantitative approach. Qualitative and quantitative approach. The qualitative approach refers to the interviews with experts, while quantitative approach refers to 2 techniques we have identified in this study, which namely a survey and content analysis. So, and then you have to further explain what do we mean by interviews, which goes in details for your method. After we have this, and then I will share with you the outlines, the important outlines in research method. What do we need to have in research method?
Okay.
Even though I'm talking about research design, we cannot escape ourselves from talking about methodology. This is what I'm worried about. When I give the title, and then I'm worried, okay, now I will talk the whole thing, not only research design. Somehow it's good because as the research design is the heart of the research, it's good for us to go back and forth at chapter 2 and then chapter 1. Yeah. Okay. Those days we look at the steps. Horizontal mendata ke menintang? Horizontal.
Meningkat.
Menegak.
Mendata
So,
gitu.
for research, we have to look at it as vertical. Mendata, because it always go back. You go to chapter 3 and then you go back to chapter 1 because of the objectives, and then you go back to chapter 2 because you want to make sure that what chapter 2 tells the reader is included in chapter 3 in the method. So it always go back, and even chapter 4, if you go back to chapter 4, we need to go back to chapter 3 because we want to make sure that what we explain or what we write on chapter 4 is aligned with chapter 3. We don't want to say different things. I remember recently I had I was the examiner for PhD Viva. The objective says it looks at perception and acceptance. Yeah? And when God goes to the findings, only acceptance. Then I ask, where is your perception? Yeah? Look at your research method, your research design. Do you have the word perception? Yes. So where is in the findings? You can see how this research design becomes the heart of everything. Yeah? This is where at the end of your research grant or your PhD, your master, or even your degree, you have to work in this vertical line and not horizontal.
Horizontal, Doktor. Horizontal yang
Terbalik.
mendata. Ya. Horizontal mendata, vertical menegak.
Terbalik. So horizontal, yeah. We have to work in a horizontal way. Do not see it as vertical, because vertical is always a step down, goes down. You don't go up, yeah. But horizontal, you have to always go back to chapter 1, chapter 4, and importantly chapter 5. It goes back to from the beginning, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, to conclude in chapter 5. So characteristic of research design, first is neutrality. Neutrality means it does not show biasness. It does not show imbalance. It's supposed to be the strongest part of your research. So neutrality should be neutral, means it shows the balance. I will show you the example how the research design can be called as balanced or neutral. And then reliability. You can easily, you just put yourself as examiner. You can easily tell whether there's something wrong with the research or not. And when you look at the research design, again, the power of research design is not. It's okay if you are doing qualitative or quantitative. Both needs research design. And then validity, because in research design, we will show the readers how we validate our data. And then generalization, how the whole findings becomes, not becomes, but how the whole the plan that we have for our research can answer the objective of your research. Okay. This is one example. This is independent variables, communication skills, and then self-esteem. It used quantitative approach. What techniques? It used survey. And then we have pilot test. This is what we actually show the readers, how we validate the data. We have the pilot test, and then we go to data collection. It can always go back if there's something wrong in our reliability score. And then we start collecting our data. This is our students, okay? This is from the students. This is and then analysis. How do you analyze your data? Descriptive or inferential, which include t-test or correlation. You can, okay, Dr. Rashid, now I'm asking you, looking at this research design, does it, is it explanatory enough?
Maksud Doktor macam mana?
Is it explanatory? Maksudnya cukup tak? Faham tak kalau tengok ni?
Steam quantity sampai pilot test. Faham?
Okay, just imagine if I close the pilot test, we remove the pilot test. There will be examiners ask you, how do you validate the data?
Yeah, very good, Doktor.
So, but now we put into our research design, and then khalas, people understand. And then we say, okay, so you do your pilot test to validate the data, and then data collection. And then let's say we stop until analysis. We don't have the descriptive t-test or correlation. You will have the question. What analysis do you use? Okay, and then since we have a good research design framework, alhamdulillah, people understand. Oh, you use descriptive. Perhaps you may ask question, why do you not use cross tabulation, for example? It just that is on the method part, more specific. But the research designs allows such good understanding. Dr. Isa, are you there with me?
Yep. I'm just
Okay.
wondering about asking
Okay.
the qualitative and mixed method. How does it
Okay.
the
Okay. Let's go.
diagram look like?
Let's go.
There you go.
Okay, this one. This is more complicated. There's now only 2 variables. Now we have 3. This is mine. You can have your critics on me. Don't worry. It has a lot of weakness. Okay. We play with the arrow. You play with the arrow with the dot, the and then the what we call with this line, on line putus-putus ni, and then we have a direct line, clearly to show what do we mean by this apa panggil dot ni,
Dotted line, does it
dotted
reflect
line.
to
Thank you.
it is supporting the straight line?
Exactly. This meaning this is not the main data.
Got it.
This is not the main data. The data that people will see is the second phase. Sorry, ni phase terbalik ni. Patut phase 1 is the qualitative. I masa betulkan tadi tu tersalah. So phase 1 is qualitative, halal integrity, and then we have both. But in the research method, we still say that this is a mixed method.
Maksudnya doktor akan run yang dotted line first. Qualitative, pilot, okay, and then come up with the second one.
Then qualitative, we do pilot interviews, data analysis, we develop instrument, we develop the dimensions according to the interviews. From the dimensions that we have identified, we then establish the questionnaire. So the questionnaire actually refers to the survey under quantitative. So this is the line. Why this a dotted line? Because it always go back to the instrument if something is wrong with your pilot test. I mean, with something wrong with your reliability test and normality test. We also sometimes if you have good numbers of sampling respondents in your pilot test, you can do EFA, explanatory factor analysis. But if you have 30 respondents, you can't do EFA. But you can do EFA after data collection. So it always so the validation, the normality test is always at this stage. So now quantitative refer to the survey, data collection. I have another one, data organization. In social science, data organization is actually exists. Yeah.
Shall you also put a dotted line at the pilot test? Normality test also run here. I mean on the pilot
slide. Now.
I don't know. Later lah.
Oh, okay. So meaning yes, I agree. So, I mean in the explanation, what is happening here? We have the normality test, EFA. Again, depends on your numbers of your respondent. Notice, if you have 30, you can't do EFA. EFA usually involve 100 respondents. Rugi. Kenapa rugi? Once you have these 100 respondents for your pilot test, you cannot use the same data for your data collection.
Ouch.
So you have to forget about them. That's why usually I use 30 maximum, because it's not easy to get respondents, by the way. If you aim for 400, that 30 is something. Somehow I have to forget about the 30 because it has been used in my pilot test. So I have to forget the 30. I will look for another 400, the new one, for my data collection. For the numbers of respondents, usually if you are talking about Malaysia population, don't worry about 25,000 data. You don't have to worry. 1,000 is inshallah sufficient. Yeah, so 1,000 sufficient to generalize, to explain the trends that we have in Malaysia, the trends and then the trends and then the pattern, yes, the pattern of your study, of your subject matters to represent Malaysia. 1,000. Recently I had this project with the government. They have la ilallah 25,000 respondents. And then I said, okay, whether it's 1,000 or 25,000, it will come out the same thing. It will tell us the same chi-square, the changes, the differences. So why you have such a lot data of respondents, 25,000? And then okay, it's good. It sounds good, but then for the purpose of analysis, no. And unless you are doing experimental, because but somehow still there will be repetitions in that 25,000. Trust me. Yeah, in 25,000 you can see the repetition of pattern. Yeah, in 25,000, meaning 1,000 inshallah could explain. Yeah, could explain the patterns. So you don't have to be very ambitious about getting thousands of respondents.
Doktor, based on framework doktor ni kan,
Yeah.
okay, kualitatif doktor buat pilot test and then you come up with the set of questionnaire kan, and then bila dapat questionnaire kat sini, the arrow come to survey and all that. Tapi di atas kuantitatif tu akan buat pilot test questionnaire juga, maksudnya memang ada standardized questionnaire and then from pilot test develop another questionnaire. Is it?
La, bukan. This questionnaire is the same questionnaire that I'm going to test in pilot test.
Okay, maksudnya from a set of questionnaire ni dia akan pergi survey. Survey mean at the same time we are doing the pilot test lah.
Sepatutnya arrow ni pergi kuantitatif.
Ya. Arrow questionnaire ni pergi kuantitatif kan?
Ya, betul.
Hasil dia pergi pilot test, turun survey. Okay, faham.
Walaupun sebenarnya I salah letak, tapi sebenarnya nak test student.
Arrow terpendek.
Doctor, another one, when we talk about cross tabulation and chi-square, I just I want to recap back my, all the knowledge dulu kan. Okay, kalau kita buat chi-square basically in categorical data lah yes or no, apa dia punya answers punya ni kan. So, selalu kita nak tengok perkaitan antara dua, betul tak? Atau apa? Macam mana?
Chi-square, kita memang ada female, and Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar nama dia. Tapi tak apa. Chi-square is actually to look at the changes. Okay. Perkataan changes adalah berbeza dengan different. T-test, we want to see how different it is among the variables. But chi-square will tell us how the variable of gender, for example. Tak naklah gender senang sangat. Negeri lah. How the pattern change among the states. Kita ada 14 negeri. So when we do chi-square, we want to see whether there is significant changes. Maksudnya berubah negeri, berubah pattern. That is the chi-square bab.
Bagi variable suatu, Dr. Rafida, contohnya?
Contoh.
Alah, COVID lah senang. We talking about COVID, right?
COVID.
COVID in Selangor, COVID in Malaysia.
The stress level among students according to states. We have 14 states. So we will do chi-square, cross tabulation. We will do cross tabulation. So we have the left, on the left we have the list of states, negeri, and then on the right we will have the level of stress. And so when we do cross tabulation, we don't need cross tabulation unless it involves more another variable. For example, gender, states, and then the level of stress according to gender. Yes. So when
gender, male, female, shemale.
Shemale? Oh, yang tu.
Pasal Dia gender dua
Drop,
je,
drop.
dia tak boleh jadi tiga. Dia tak apa acknowledged by Islam.
By
Okay.
law, by law.
Law of Islam. Kalau ni law liberal dia acknowledge kan. So kita buat cross tabulation and then we will have the chi-square results to whether it is significant or not, that the changes in the among the state can actually there is a change in stress level between male and female. Maksudnya kalau changes maksudnya sampai kat Johor nilai dia besar. Bila chi-square tu nilai besar bermaksud there is a big change if COVID in Johor Bahru is actually pose more stress, pose more stress on the students from Johor
Compared to Selangor lah.
compared to other states, because it shows the biggest values for the chi-square as compared to other states. But because significant, kenapa significant? Ada P less than 0.05. So it's good to have chi-square. It's good. We can have t-test for the stress level between male and female, but that is different. That is test of difference, meaning there is a difference of stress between male and female. But for chi-square, we look at the changes. The changes of the likelihood of getting more stress, according to state. Itu method lah. So we go back to this one. Okay, the three variables, but one Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, one approach, quantitative. Ni satu, then this is mix. I don't have any triangulation. Ada triangulation, tapi tak sempat nak masuk dalam slide. Triangulation I buat survey, focus group discussion, and then focus group discussion and case study. So the whole three will provide us more insights, more data, and then we can draw a bigger picture on each aspect. Selalunya the three method will measure three different objective. I ulang each objective will use one technique. Jarang satu objektif menggunakan 2 atau 3 teknik. Why? Because it will lead you to confusion, mix up, and then when you finish collecting data, you will get headache. Macam mana ni Expert kata lain, ni kata lain, because you are measuring the same objective. And the same objective. Unless you want to show some perspective of expert, perspective of industries, for example, industry mungkin jadi expert practitioners. Then you have survey from public.
How are your
They both will show you different pattern of findings. Okay. I think
we would love to help you around on the holidays. And I have already discussed.
So in your research, this research design must be drawn. You must have it in chapter 3. Even for research grant, this is an extra, a bonus. I'm not good at receiving research grant yet, but I know this research design helps the examiner, helps those who evaluate our paper to understand better in about our research. How far do you agree with me? Do you agree with me, Dr. Nizam?
Agree apa tu?
Agree that having this research design will
Yes, I agree. Because
will help the evaluator.
path
Yeah.
from the very beginning until the end, inshallah.
Remember, it's okay if you do qualitative or quantitative. This is not specifically for quantitative. People always got wrong about quantitative. When it comes to quantitative, it goes with framework, it goes with percentage. But actually, framing analysis, quali, betul tak?
Yes.
Betul?
Even if we are doing any what we call as a mixed method analysis, it's also the same. People will get confused sometimes.
Yes. Betul. Even for framing analysis, kan, dia quali. But we can quantify the quali. How is that? Framing analysis. Okay, let's look at the headlines of newspapers. Okay? We try to get the main frames of how the headlines of COVID being reported in this pandemic season. So we quantify, we calculate how many whether frame A, how many times it is repeated in the whole month, for example. So still it involves figures, but actually it's qualitative. But we can see the increased numbers in the frame that we have identified. So what do we mean by the larger? We see the frame A 20, frame B 10. It helps us to conclude that frame A takes greater interest in the article or news reporting in Malaysia during COVID. So the numbers help. That's why we can't reject qualitative, or if let's say myself is quanti, but I always use qualitative because qualitative provides richer information, especially from the experts, and then the qualitative complements my quantitative data. When I use qualitative, I also, alhamdulillah, I wrote a case study on halal branding for Cadbury. So yes, it's 100% qualitative because we write the case according to the storyline. That is different, but still there is the numbers involved. When we look at the case, we look at the references, we look at the figures about the reputations fell down during the issues of halal chocolate Cadbury. Okay, because just now I promised you to show you the outline of research. Let me show you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Tadi doktor dia bagi tahu yang nak sentuh sikit pasal FGD dengan satu lagi tu. Apa dah?
Apa ya? Research round table ke?
Round table
Okay. FGD. Okay. FGD is focus group. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Focus group discussion where we will divide our respondents, not more than 10, 15 the most. If you cannot run from the numbers, we will divide into 3 tables or 4 tables. Each table will discuss the same thing, and we will ask them to present the respondents to present their findings. What have they agreed upon during the discussions? If you look at then there will have for example, they look at the economic, social, education, for example. So having their presentations, FGD, we come back with the data. That is not analysis yet. So where is the analysis? Then we have to think of how to analyze the data. Let's say we use SWOT analysis, and Okay, from the FGD, we use FGD is the tool, the techniques, but the analysis is we use SWOT analysis. From their data, we put according to these three groups, education from group 1, group 2, group 3, and then we use SWOT analysis to analyze their findings. That is FGD. Roundtable discussion is the presentation. They will present, we will invite experts, but jarang we invite the same expert in the same areas to present. Usually when we talk about COVID, we will invite expert from health, experts from media, experts from leadership, management. Okay, they will present. From their presentation, in this roundtable discussion, we will argue. We will pose questions to trigger them how the three can agree about your question. That is roundtable discussions.
Okay. Yang FGD tadi untuk kita buat kumpulan tu, kita akan ambil anyone that related to our population, bukan expert kan?
Yes.
So experts.
Expert, not popular, not just
not from subject atau respondent.
No, jarang. Responden sebenarnya kita nak kena hide diorang ni. Jadi when we do FGD, we will invite experts from different perspective.
Tapi kita bagi soalan yang sama.
Yes.
Macam doktor cakap tadi, untuk kita tengok apa dia punya ni.
Yes, you will find it. Subhanallah, manusia kan? We thought they have the same conclusion, but no, there will always differences about their findings.
And then we can analyze by quali and quanti.
The SWOT analysis.
Kalau kita nak buat analyze, kalau bukan SWOT, maksudnya kita boleh kata quali.
Salah.
Kalau kita nak tengok tema ke apa ke?
Tema tu framing analysis. We have to mention not quali. Quali is the approach. Jauh lagi atas tadi. Kalau kita dah sampai FGD tu maknanya kita dah tak sebut quali, kita sebut teknik dia apa. Analysis dia apa? Framing. Kata framing analysis. Kalau SWOT analysis, we have fishbone analysis. We have SWOT analysis. Apa lagi analisis kita ada? Banyak analisis. Saya sampai ada beli buku ni dalam management.
Root cause boleh?
Boleh apa dia?
Root cause analysis.
Yes, root cause analysis. Allah, thousands of analysis. Tapi we have to identify which one that is suitable and can accomplish our objective. Okay, I'm sharing with you this. You can see the chapters outline? Okay, we go to chapter 3. In research design, okay, introduction, then research design, location, yeah. Once we have identified what approach we want to use, then what techniques, and then we have to explain where this research take place. You have to explain the location. After that, there will be a question: who will you will be involved? Will be involved in your study. So you have to answer in sampling. There are 200 respondents who are randomly chosen according to this kalau tak state zone ke, yeah. And then you have to explain the operational instrument. What instrument should you use? If you say it's survey, what instrument do you use? So survey means you use a questionnaire using the in Google form katalah ya. So instrument, and then we have to explain the operationalization of variables. Operationalization of variables, macam operation. Variables is stress. So how do you operate? Kalau operate orang kan bedah, potong, keluarkan perut, usus, So same with variables. How do you operate the variable? Stress. How do you operate the stress? How do you measure stress? Stress according to external, internal, for example. Bukan bidang saya pun. Ini bidang Dr. Isa ni. So how do you see stress? How do you operate stress? So stress ni ada dua, internal, external. Internal ada 5 soalan, external ada 6 soalan. Nampak tu? Jadi itulah operationalization of variables. And then under this topic number 6, we also put the pilot test. We will have to include pilot test, or if you have EFA, normally t-test is under this number 6. And then data collection, data analysis. Don't get me wrong, EFA is not findings. Unless your paper, journal for example, you want to be specific on EFA. But in research, EFA usually we put under chapter 3. Because EFA, we want to look at the factor analysis, whether there is the items we measure redundant or repeated in different constructs, sub-constructs. So we have data collection, data analysis, conclusion. These are the main headings. Sorry, not sub. The headings in chapter 3.
How to differentiate? Not to differentiate. I think how to choose among EFA or CFA.
If you want to do a CFA, you must do EFA. You can't choose. But if you want to stop, especially writing journals, if you want to share about your EFA, it's okay.
And then we start with EFA, and then we finalize with CFA.
CFA.
Okay.
CFA, we can have first order of CFA or second order CFA. First order, we look at each construct, and CFA, for example, stress, there are 5 sub-constructs. So we want to see the second order, will show you how the 5 can actually measure stress.
Okay. Previously, Doctor, we used the factor analysis to do the EFA and CFA, but nowadays, Doctor mostly using the MOS, right?
For the MOS, we don't measure factor analysis in MOS. MOS means structural equation model. Structural equation model is doing more than that. It looks at the function of the role of your variables, whether it is a moderating variable or mediating variable. So that is another stage that should be mentioned in your objective.
Maksud saya, Doktor, yang dulu EFA dan CFA kita buat menggunakan factor analysis kan?
Yes, both are factor analysis.
Okay, sekarang masih menggunakan factor analysis untuk buat EFA, CFA, atau ada any new method?
MOS tu hanya software. Software je. Tapi kalau SPSS we can do CFA and EFA using SPSS. Why do we? But MOS provide us a bit extra facilities about drawing. You know, quantitative people love to see the drawing, and then the values in the drawing. That is what the MOS do. MOS does. So when we have structural equation model, yes, MOS can do that further. So Alhamdulillah. That's all for this morning session.
Very good.
On the SEM, the SEM can test many variables, is it? Better than MOS, is it?
Can you repeat that question?
I mean, SEM can test structural equation modeling, can test many variables rather than MOS can test only one variable, if I'm not mistaken lah. I was still forgotten. Is it, Doctor?
No. Both SPSS or MOS, we can measure many variables. But kena ajar sikit. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. For MOS, for structural equation model analysis, we must have at least 3 items for each construct. Contoh ya, stress ada external, internal ya. Contoh internal ada 5 question. Internal ada 5, external ada 5. So when you do a first order CFA, this is 5, this is also 5. Second order, when you combine these two to measure stress, suddenly you have to remove the 5 items. Sometimes the MOs ask you to remove 2 or 1, and suddenly internal you have only 2 items measuring internal. When it is 2, meaning you have to forget this construct. Now only external left, because minimum items measuring each construct should be 3. So the variable stress ke, communication ke, semua banyak pun tak apa, boleh. As long as in the same study, Dr. Zaki, Cik Zaki. Bolehlah Dr. Zaki, amin. Jumaat ya Allah barakah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Things that not out of topic lah. I think as a lecturer we need to know both knowledge lah. I think quantitative and qualitative, because we have to respect other people's knowledge. Is it right? This is come to discussion lah. Maybe ada kata.
I agree with you. Alhamdulillah. Especially we are lecturers. We are lecturers. Yes.
Tadi Dr. Ita mention it's good ataupun is it compulsory, let's say lah bila kita buat CFA tu kan, and then tiba-tiba somehow daripada combination let's say ada yang item external, internal stress, something like that, and then based on the analysis tu dia kata you have to remove 3 and then 2 less for internal. Ada tak macam memang this particular scholar yang memang yang limit that, ataupun it can case by case basis? Sebab macam ni, recently saya ada presentation tentang smartphone addiction scales. So the item actually dia ada banyak lah, dia daripada 33 item and then go become to just 10 items, and then and then within 10 items tu dia ada 4 domains, and then somehow rather the domains originally from ada 7-8 items and then end up tinggal 2 je, and then the researcher still running the apa ni dia punya questionnaire tu, and then they get the data and then they report everything. Just now I'm asking your professional point of view lah, does that domain bila dia tinggal 2 item saja still it's I mean I don't know apa ni
valid or not
yeah, that is there.
If you use SPSS, no problem, it's valid.
Okay,
this is only for MOS.
Okay.
If you use SPSS, you can still run the correlation, you can still run the t-test, no problem. It is only this syarat is only for MOS.
I see. Okay, faham.
Tapi kalau you nak pergi CFA, kalau rasa tengah 2, forget about it. Jangan cari pasal. Sebab nanti kantoi masa present tables.
Yeah.
I think that's why people like to choose SEM, because of the problem with MOS. They deleted all. I mean, yalah, the data-data tu kan dia selalu buang banyak kan. Jadi some people pilih PLS, SEM lebih mudah nak defend data tu daripada nak buang macam-macam benda yang kita dah buat. Kan questionnaire yang banyak tu. Betul ke? Tak boleh explain sikit?
Oh, ya Allah, you sebut PLS pula ni. Okey, I ingat lagi ada sahabat kita kat sini tanya saya, belajar tak PLS kan? And then I answered, no, I don't learn PLS because MOS is sufficient for me to measure moderating or mediating. Jadi if you are talking about advantage, as you learn, PLS memang benar kan ke? Kalau item tu lebih daripada, kurang daripada 3? Zaki? Siapa soal tadi, Zaki kan?
Itulah dia tanya dia hilang. Sabar je.
Zaki, kau tengah driving ke?
Selalu benar kan doktor, I think.
Kalau PLS benar kan, Alhamdulillah. Tapi kalau kita guna akal lah kan, 2 items measuring 1 variable kan lemah.
Make sense.
Make sense kan? How can 2 items? Tapi after macam Dr. Isa tadi, after one test to another test, kalau subconstruct tinggal tu okay lagi, because that subconstruct internal external combine to measure stress. Tapi kalau the stress itself tu ditinggal 2 is weak. Tapi PLS if it allows less than 3, alhamdulillah. By all means you can learn which one that is easy for you or easier or comfortable.
Basically people use PLS ni because kita boleh test pada small sample size as compared to MOS. MOS kena lagi banyak dia punya sample size, doktor kan?
Betul.
MOS kan 200 or 300 above.
Yes, 200 at least.
200 right, yeah.
Dan 200 ni critical because if you have exact responder 200, it can reduce up to 50. Because when we do MOS, usually they will ask us to remove cases to get a good reliability, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, goodness, the good fitness model, the good of fit. The good fit of model tu kita kena
test for goodness of fit kan?
Allahu Akbar.
Test of goodness of fit.
Goodness of fit, yes.
Yeah.
So goodness of fit tu nak dapat tu kita kata kita have to remove cases. So in that case if you have exactly 200 kita tak payahlah guna, you can choose not to use MOS, tak semestinya.
Yeah.
Dalam Melayu apa nama term tu goodness of fit. Bagus untuk jadi sihat.
Fit tu lebih pada nilai kebagusan ke tak tahulah. Saya pernah baca kat buku dia tulis nilai kebagusan.
Nilai kebagusan ya.
Masuk akal juga doktor, nilai kebagusan.
Zaki, tanya tadi you belajar PLS ke?
Ada belajar tapi tak habis lagi kot. Tak apalah, akak lagi pandai.
Tak, I do not know how to use PLS.
Sama lah, saya pun buta kayu.
Tak tahu. Tapi kalau Zaki rasa PLS is helpful and safe, kan? Macam
setahu saya yang all-timer lecturer ni yang statistik, dia orang suka yang, profesor-profesor yang lama dia suka MOS lagi daripada PLS sebab PLS is new things yang second level statistik ni kan. Jadi diorang mungkin tak tahu kot sangat tentang PLS. Tapi
bukan
PLS
tak tahu, bukan tak tahu.
Betul, PLS lagi mudah dan sekarang ni sedang ni lah.
Zaki, the ahli lain, it's not about easy or not for PLS. But you just imagine it's not easy to learn MOS. It's tough. So we don't want to go through another stage of learning. That's how we paranoid about learning statistics. We can't let ourselves ruin in that PLS.
Doktor, one more question. Apa ni, bila kita cakap Doktor, bila kita sebut tentang analisis ni semua kan, untuk MOS and all that ni, SAM and all that, CFA, EFA, do we need to consider the parametric and non-parametric? Kita nak kena buat normality test dulu macam kita tahu macam chi-square dia for non-parametric kan. Kalau parametric kita buat ANOVA, t-test kan. Kita kena ambil kira tak benda-benda tu?
Yes, we have to. For especially for PhD and especially for to publish in Scopus Q1 journal, you must have the normality test. Kita pernah hantar ke Q1 WOS, World of Science punya journal. We only write on ni tahu CFA. End up dia tanya where is your EFA. So tu bila kita dah hantar EFA, dia tanya lagi where is the AVE, average variance extract. Tu ya Allah, one to another. That's how the quality of WOS journal and Q1 journal, they will ask you the normality test and the value for EFA. So if you want to publish.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Yati.
Assalamualaikum.
Ni Rosmizi.
Ya doktor.
Sorry,
suara beriman sikit lebih daripada yang lain.
Ada saya sebab saya tak faham sangat, saya daripada pengajian Islam, so kita dengar je lah. Sebab saya dengar dia macam we come from different world of research. Bila saya tengok, wah saya memang nak belajar tapi tengah-nganga jugalah nak follow tadi. Sebab saya from old school traditional of Islamic studies, dia lain sikit. So saya tanya, adakah ini relevan dengan Islamic studies? Macam mana saya nak put myself dengan benda-benda ni macam sebab saya kita lebih kepada falsafah, kajian teks kan. Contohnya macam dalam kajian saya dulu, saya pun tak sebut pun kualitatif, kuantitatif, apatah lagi variable, semua tu memang kita tak tahu. Kita tak guna sebab kita go straight to the concept. Sama ada kita kaji kitab, kaji talk of the scholar. Cuma lately saya mula interested nak belajar, so sebab tu saya join program-program macam ni. Saya mula kenal benda, sebab sekarang ni pun dah banyak yang buat mixed method kan. Dah mula ada pengajar Islam pun dia kaji orang panggil apa, isu-isu yang berlaku sekarang ni. Cuma saya masih old school, saya masih mengkaji tentang konsep. So memang tak kaji orang, tak gunalah. Saya tak belajar SPSS, semua tu memang have no basic lah about that. So macam mana kita nak letak kajian saya dalam konteks ini? Adakah ada relevan ataupun ini memang hanya untuk orang kata apa, social science saja? Macam kami pengajar Islam mungkin bawah humanities, tapi pengajar Islam pun dia ada cara dia tersendiri kan. Sebab tu saya kata dia macam two different world, tapi macam mana nak integrate
Okey, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih Dr. Rizmizi soalan tu. Sebenarnya kalau tanya social science, from my reading, pengajian Islam is social science. Kenapa social science? Because we still relate it with humans. Betul tak, Doktor? You kaji akidah ke, apa panggil religiosity ke, it's about human, betul tak? Betul. So kalau study itu melibatkan kitab, melibatkan hujah kepada different scholars, different ideologies ke, dan itu memang kita akan letak sini. Contohnya pasal religiosity and satu lagi pasal akidah. So kat sini kualitatif je lah. Kalau dalam research design kita letak kualitatif. And then how do you collect the data? You will put this content analysis. Selepas kuali, you put it framing ke ataupun content analysis atau textual analysis. Lepas tu you analyse. How do you analyse? Yang ini yang sebenarnya you all ada analysis tapi you all tak dapat satu term. Sebenarnya analysis yang you buat tu apa? Jadi sebenarnya kita ada teori yang boleh explain yang pihak pengajian Islam ni sebenarnya study. Sebenarnya advantage untuk Dr. Rizmizi kalau you go to belajar macam mana nak keluarkan satu perkataan to explain the analysis that you are doing, sebab ini akan enable you to publish in more like WAS journal ataupun Q1 journal. Sebab we need people discuss ataupun hujah atau discussion on Islamic perspective tadi tu. Kalau you tanya saya macam mana kalau saya jadi Dr. Rizmizi, you are not alone. You have to take members from other method, quantitative ke apa, to assist you and then to panggil visualize. Kita angkat you punya hujah tadi dalam textual analysis tu, dalam research design. Ya Allah, cantik Dr. Rizmizi. Orang akan lebih faham you buat apa, guna kitab ke, then how you analyse. You can't, betul tak saya cakap kalau Dr. Rizmizi analysis takkanlah tak ada guide, takkan tak ada measurement, betul tak? Mesti ada guna. Contohnya you are looking at words, you are looking at phrases, you are looking at this semua ada nama dalam social science. Semua ada nama analisis dia. So with that you don't have to worry whether you need to use any more, semua ni tak payahlah. In fact analysis kita boleh guna in vivo kan. Untuk textual analysis kita boleh guna in vivo, tapi in vivo cannot read Arabic. There is another weakness of in vivo. Jadi saya pun pernah guna in vivo. Jadi kalau dalam kes ni Dr. Rizmizi, you need to get people to team up with you.
Ya, betul tu. Dari sudut data analysis kita ada, cuma dari sudut struktur formatting yang macam ni yang kita kekurangan. Saya rasa kena memang betul saja macam tadi, kita kena bekerjasama dengan tim lain yang mungkin boleh cuba susun sebab benda dah ada kan, macam doktor cakap tadi. Analisis punya Islam memang dalam sehingga boleh keluarkan teori sendiri. Cuma kami struktur tu yang kami kekurangan. Formatting tu.
Yes.
Seperti bila saya tengok ni, saya mula tertarik dan mula nak belajar tu.
Ya, kalau kata we have expert banyak kat fakulti kan, we can sit and then we can assist we can work together to propose dia punya research design nampak. So you can imagine you punya paper, Islam punya paper can go equivalent to all the Western papers kan. Sebenarnya it's there.
InsyaAllah, thank you.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Mizi. Saya rasa mungkin saya part of it. Saya pun dulu background, bukan dulu, sekarang pun ada Islamic Studies kan. Jadi macam background Dr. Mizi macam saya I was before kita kata nature Dr. Mizi ialah humanitic study, means dia berkerapat dengan tentang theological, tentang falsafah dan juga textual study, which is memang of course saya setuju dengan Dr. Yati. Dia terletak di bawah qualitative study, dan saya percaya Dr. Mizi dah ada semua ni. Cuma saya percaya rakan-rakan daripada yang background social study yang ada di fakulti boleh bantu dari segi kita nak susun atur dari segi metodologi tu. Sebab saya rasa bendanya ada dah, betul. Cuma mungkin dari segi analisis, kita letak macam mana. Saya rasa struktur yang Yati share ini sangat membantu kita untuk nak melihat dalam kedudukan yang teratur. Saya rasa tenang je, tak tengok kamera bawah pun tengok slide tu saya rasa macam macam ni, lega. Saya rasa ada macam satu benda yang ada kemudahan untuk kita nampak secara sistematik lah.
Yes, alhamdulillah. And we go back to what do we mean by research? The definition itself, research is systematic. Kalau kita punya research we fail to come up with a good explanation about the systematic, how systematic our analysis is, bahan kita akan jadi lemah lah. Tapi the content is there. Cuma kita nak letak satu stage lagi to show to people, to readers, that this is a systematic way of analysing text of for example hadith ke kan. So insyaAllah we can do that. You just need Dr. Zizi find people that you can work with and then come up with saya contohnya, kalau doktor rasa percaya kat saya, doktor tak semesti jadikan saya ahli pun. I can always see and look and advise how do you can put this into pictures. We can assist this, and that I would like to invite all the members of the faculty, especially, and other faculties. If there are some here from other faculties, please, we need to have extra effort to be good in our method, in the methodology, in research method. So we can't avoid, especially as a supervisor, to deal with qualitative, quantitative both. So I invite, let's learn more about research method. So alhamdulillah, insyaAllah, so we can share our knowledge in better ways. And kalau kata dapat pergi lebih tinggi punya jurnal, alhamdulillah, the world can see your papers. InsyaAllah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So ada question lagi? Tak ada kan?
Oh, thank you.
Ada. Bila nak share slide?
Nanti Hilman boleh share slide dengan video sekali. So
Doktor nanti doktor share lah paper doktor yang kena baiki banyak kali dekat WAS tu. Dah publish ke belum?
Dah final. Dah hantar dah yang the latest, sebab dia nak communities punya values, AVE lah apalah. Tak tahu lah.
Boleh sharing ke next time?
InsyaAllah. So insyaAllah sharing tak ada masalah, insyaAllah. So alhamdulillah, thank you so much for being with me, and we hope may Allah give us barakah for this learning session. May we become better in our knowledge, insyaAllah, with izin, with permission of Allah SWT. With that, thank you Hilman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much
Dr.
Thank you Dr. Yati.
Terima kasih Dr. Norhayati. Terima kasih juga kepada doktor-doktor yang mengajukan soalan. Saya rasa ini round back yang paling meriah yang saya anjurkan. Alhamdulillah. Jika tak ada apa lagi, kita